All right, here we go. Here is the lecture for today. So one of the things that we are going to do is we're going to review, go back and review an assignment you've done before. And you did it all in Blueprint. Can someone get the front lights so that you guys can see the projector? My apologies. Um, so the previous assignment is basically the possession. Come on. God. My apologies. We're going to do this the hard way, apparently. Docs. There we go. Finally. Yeah, okay. Okay. So again, the idea here is that we're creating a new blue person character. And that's going to have the references to character 1, character 2, character 3. And then we're going to create keyboard events for 1, 2, and 3. So here's what the blueprint looked like for that assignment. Basically, you press 1, character 1, possess. All right. So one of the things that we are doing here is we are playing with input. And we're using the new input system. So I know some of you may have seen there's the older system, older. We will, one of the things that you will, now this assignment is here is to get you used to working with the new input system so that when you get to future assignments, when they show you how to set up input, you will see what they want you to do and redo it with the new input system. Right. So I think it's either 2 or 3 weeks from now, there will be a tutorial. They're going to show you the old input system that is depreciated. So we're not going to use, so basically what I'm saying is that don't use that old input system. It's going away for reasons and whatnot. Use the new input system with Unreal. The other thing that we are doing here is that it's from the persistent level. This is so one of the things that's going to be different here is that there's going to be an open, that we did this with the open level blueprint. We don't have access to that in C++. So one of the things that we're going to do is going to make a holder class that's going to manage that for us. So those are the big things. The only thing that I don't have, essentially, again, down be able to play, get the spawn pawn that's in the world, use the player controller to get that control pawn, store that in a variable. When you hit 0, switch to the pawn instead. So we've got, again, four actions. So let's jump to the lab. Again, I basically said create a holder C++. This class will have only references to the characters in the level. So let's actually get Unreal up and going. one of the things that we can do to get a class, there is a U gameplay statistics class. We can get actor class. It asks for the world and then asks for the static class. So essentially, robot holder is the static class. Pretty much all of your, basically, you're going to be doing this in all of your classes, because essentially you're going to be going to the robot holder asking for what reference you want. So that's one of the things that's going on. Let's go. Again, here is select one. Here is the select one. They ask for make sure we get the controller, PC, possess. Again, we're using the reference of that object. So it's pretty straightforward. It's just we've got to jump through some hoops to get this going. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay. I'm going to file. I'm going to save. Current level as, I believe this is. Start with this as lab 04. So that we're in basically a clean place. I'm gonna just do a quick modification, take this out, because and it really doesn't matter what. And if you hit end on an actor, it'll drop to the closest solid thing below it. So it's like getting, so if again this was floating, I've dropped it to the floor. We'll press play and be like, hey, hooray, we have our character. Let's look at our world setting. So right now our game mode is BP third person game mode. And we in theory go in, depending on whether we should create a game mode just for the sake of having a different game mode. But right now it's spawning in the BP third person player controller. Let's take a look at that quickly. So it's under third person blueprint. Here's this blueprint class. What am I looking at? Take a look at the C++ character. The blueprint's doing a lot more than I expected. There we go. So here's the .h. Stop it. This is character.cpp. Okay. Okay, so it is here right now, creating a bunch of new, basically all the actions. So here is, you put in action, jump action, move action, look action, look at action. So this is the theory of how should we go ahead and progress. And I'm going to say we should probably work in a new C++ class for the player character, and then basically create a new instance of that blueprint class and remap it to the new parent effectively. So let's do that. So note that these are jump actions. These actions right here are established here. So jump back to Unreal just quickly. In the blueprint class, where are they? Where did they set them to? Input. Okay. Where is one of the things that they've done here is they've actually assigned the actual action that it's assigned to here. So this is one of those weird things that you create a variable in create a variable that's a member of the class, but then you have to assign the action to it in the blueprint class. And that's key. This is one of those key pieces that I want. That, like, if this is the one thing you take away from today's lecture, is that you create an action in code, and you do what you want in code, but that action has to be assigned to the variable in the blueprint class, and that's why we have that essentially that blueprint class on top of the C++ class. All right. So let's jump back to our C++ classes. And we are going to, here's the C++ class that we need. We're going to right click and create a new C++ derived from it. And this is going to essentially be, we'll call this lab 04 pawn for the sake of argument at this point. Give Unreal a sec. It should be. There we go. Come on. Okay, so it's now compiled it. Reload all. Okay. Doesn't have, so things that it's doing already, like here's its a constructor. We'll come back to its constructor. But it's, I don't think it has. Doesn't have a tick, doesn't have a, so it doesn't have a tick or doesn't have a start. Actually, it does. Just trying to think best way to move forward on this. Follow camera, character movement. Okay, so there's nothing in the constructor that we actually have to there's nothing here. So it's doing all this initialization things here. We won't need to do a constructor for the class to add any of this. We do need to. So the big one here is that they go enhance they get the enhanced input. And this is how they're. So it casts it to the enhanced input component. And then it starts binding actions. So here, basically, this is one of the things that's nice about the new system is that the old system had actions and buttons, and like Unity's old input manager had buttons and and so this was an older way of dealing with stuff. It has basically brought them all together under one umbrella where it's all in action. And so in this case, here is, and we can, and the thing is there's the trigger event. So here's start, here is completed. Move action when it's triggered. Here's the look at it when it's triggered. So for our purposes, we're going to be adding a lot of started. So it's something has happened. We're not too concerned. Again, this is jumping. This is when stop jumping. So this is one of the things that Unreal had. Basically, you could bind like a function when it starts and a bunch when you stop. And this they've split it into different triggered events. All right, let's jump back to. I'm actually going to grab this whole. I'm going to grab the whole function, and I'm going to. Drop that all in. Okay. And I'm going to bring this in here. What category was it under? It was protected. Okay. So we definitely need a... let's just check the .h for the... So let's go back. Actually, these were all protected. So I'm going to grab one of these. So I actually don't need... We'll come back. We're probably missing a header file, but we'll come back to this in one moment. So I don't need this public because it's all protected here. And this is end up going to be pawn 1, pawn 2, pawn 3, pawn 3. Going to go in here, and this is basically this is the basically the in the editor, these will show up in the editor. Give it. So okay, so far so good. Let's take a look at the .h. See what I think we needed. Make sure these are I think should be okay. Let me save this file. Type. Let's take a look at the .cpp file. What are we missing? These three. So it's the enhanced input component, input subsystems. I believe these are all that we need. Controller. Let's just grab the controller just to be on the safe side. Don't need capsule, don't need camera, don't need local player. Might need local player. We'll come back to that. Hello, what are you doing? Copy. There you go. Okay, so that took care of all of that. So again, those warnings are basically, we didn't have these includes in there as well. All right, let's go make sure everything's okay. Let's go back to our, let's go compile. What am I missing? Oh, hold on. I have not attached it to the correct class. So we need to go grab the class name here. There we go. Oh, okay. So next thing then I've done wrong is I've kept all of references to the original class names. Where is it? All right, so what I want to do is I do want to grab and I just want to pass it this. All right, so this is gonna, I can allow to go in here now, take these all out. Really? Okay. So the issue that I was getting is that I mean, I haven't got here yet, but basically these are referring to things that are not part of this particular class, part of either inherited or whatnot. What I need to do now actually is actually go in. Let me just check how they did it on the. Yeah, so all the functions that they made. So I'm gonna grab this right here. Here's the do move, do look, do jump start, do jump end. I'm gonna just grab do move. And it's in the public section. So what we need to do now is add not do move is select and I don't need any values with it. Now it's yelling because it hasn't been set up, hasn't been defined yet. So don't worry. This is again function to select pawn 1. So I'm going to go in pawn 2, pawn 3, pawn spawned. So now we got 2, 3. So far so good with what we're dealing with right now. All right, so I'm just going to grab all of these. I'm going to copy this into this file right here, taking out pretty much take out the colon, give it a we don't need the virtual. Do I need these to be virtual? I don't think I need them to be virtual. Hold on. And the last thing I need to do is attach them to the class. I'm going to go back and I'm remove the virtual keyword because I don't need these to be virtual. Okay, so now I've got basically the functions that I'm going to use. I can now go back. Let's go back to here. Let me just grab. This is the line of code that I want. So I'll leave the old code for right now. But what I want to do is define which action. So this is going to be our select pawn. I'm going to do select pawn 1. I'm going to add action to all these names just so that it's we have that in place. So we go back. So the action is, again, what is the action? And I'm going to go back and basically just show you. So it's cancel completed, ongoing, started, triggered, cancel, completed. So again, we want started. Who is this binding to? This class. Who's the, and then finally, what is the function? And it basically is a reference, again, use the ampersand. So basically here is pawn 04, select pawn 1. And literally it's going to be 4 lines of this. Pawn 2 action, pawn 3 action, pawn. Let me grab it correct. Again, this is going to be 2, this is going to be 3, and then we can go back and make sure we get the correct name. And then my course I've used. And I'll jump back to recent. So here we go. So far so good. Let's just. So just to go in, just so that we have something in here, this is going to be. So just we have a lock. So we have something here in play. I think I'm actually gonna. I'll leave these alone. Okay. So far so good with what I've done. So again, a lot of busy work, repeated code, for each one. But that's kind of how this is gonna go. All right. Okay. Let's just make sure everything's okay. All right. Let's jump back to the third person blueprints right now. Let's grab the third person, and we are going to, let's see. So I'm going to put this into the lab 1. I'm going to make a copy here. And this is going to be, rename it to the BP Lab 04 pawn. So now, right now, it's still attached to the S26 character. I didn't want to open that. I want to go to. Let me see. Go to its class settings. So this is where we need to be careful. Make sure you save everything before you do this, because Unreal can break. So I'm going to go to the Lab 4 pawn class, and I'm suspicious of it. Let's add a variable. Let's delete the variable and let's compile. Okay, cool. I wanted to make sure that we actually compiled within, that the blueprint class got compiled and wasn't just stacking on top of the new class. So, all right. So one of the things that we can now do, we go to the pawn, we go to input. You can see that we've got all these now. Select pawn 1, select 2, 3, select pawn 4 action. All right. Let's go to our input section. And what we want is under actions. Basically, we're creating new actions here. This is going to be new. Where is it? Input action. IA select pawn 1. And I'm just going to go in, and it's just basically going to be a digital bool. So we're not have to go in here and do anything inside each of these actions. Okay, let's go back to the content draw. Can I duplicate? Yeah, I can get away with this. Duplicate. Pawn 3. Duplicate. So there we go. So we go. Select pawn 1, select pawn 2, select pawn 3, select pawn, spawn pawn. So I'm going to save everything. So again, make sure. And now I can assign these to the actions. Select. So now I've got those set up. All right. I'm going to compile. Let's jump back to the lab. I'm going to go to the default pawn class. This is going to be BP Lab 04 pawn. And we can save everything. Press play. And then let me NCTC. Before I do that, there's one more thing I need to do. And I need to go to the default here. Do they have any? Yeah. So here's where move, jump, look. I actually did need to add mappings for them. So select pawn one, open up. It'll be the one key, add a mapping. Select pawn two. Two is mapping. Three. And for select spawn pawn. I'm actually going to use the 4 key, just for argument. You could do 0, you could do others just for this, but I'm just the sake of ease on my fingers. I'm just going to put the 4 key for right now. So you do need to go into the mapping. There are, again, they've got multiple mappings. The default mapping is what we want right now. Yeah, this is so generic. The default mapping is what we want. We're not doing anything crazy with mappings at the moment, so don't worry too much. So save everything. Make sure you save the mapping, and now we can go in, press play. Again, you can see that it is the pawn 4, and then we can go 1, 2, 3, 4. We go to the output log, and you can see select 1, select 2, select 3. So, hooray! Our input's working, and that's we've done a lot of work just to get here. But here, what let's just review. We created a new C++ class to keep the work that we want. Let's jump back to the CPP file. We called the parent. So we called the version of this. Again, we go back. I can still run around and jump. It's doing what our parent did before. And that's because we just basically said, hey, do our parent setup and handle all of that. And then we went in and basically did what we wanted to so we only added to the code. Again, all this, right? I mean, I can take this all out now because this is dead code. But this is the code that we've added. We've added the input actions for each of those functions that we want to use. So far so good. All right. The other thing that we want to do is that essentially, let's go back to our lab file, and we've got here's the BP lab. So here is okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get these. Where are you? You are on the 0. 0, 0. Okay. And we'll put you at 750. Okay. Copy paste. Do you at do 300 here. And we'll put you at negative 300. All right. So here is respectively and we should be able to rename these. find the rename. I'm not going to worry about it. All right, let's close these up. Okay, so we've got our instances of the pawns in the world. What we now need to do is build the robot holder, and that's basically going to be tools, new C++ class. It's going to be an actor because we're going to have to put this in the world. And this is going to be the robot holder. Create the class. And then the robot holder.h. Reload all. And these are going to be public. So this is going to be so there's going to be a reference to the pawn, and this is going to be robot. Yeah, just call them robot one. Let's go back to my .h just quickly. I'm just going to grab this. I go blueprint read write just for the sake of argument. But essentially we want, and I'm gonna grab this one more time. So this one's gonna be spawn 3, 2, 1. Again, Unreal is going to grab these comment lines and use them as variable hint stats. This is robot. Okay, so here we go. Let's go grab. So we're going to jump into Begin Play. Again, I've given you the code for this. So the idea here is, let me see. That's a good question. Who's doing what? All right. We'll come back. We'll come back to this. Who is? So let's actually go back to, set this up. All right. So the robot holder dot, let's go to our pawn. Yeah, we need the gameplay statistics. Do I want? We will need to get. So a robot holder. Come on. I actually don't think I need to use a U property on this because I'm only going to use this internally. So let's save that here. Sorry, this is not where I want this. I want to go back to my pawn. And I'll make this public just to make this easier. All right, so it's not yelling about the robot holder. So let's just go to the .h and here's robot. So we're going to just grab that and we'll add that to our pawn. So we'll add that. So we're adding that. So we need to add that class so it knows it. No U function because I'm gonna grab that. Sake of argument right now, I'm gonna do this in setup player input component. This may not be right, but I'm gonna go with it anyways. Just trying to think. We'll have to see what this may not be what I want to do. But we'll handle this as okay. So now that we've got this in play, let's go back to our C++ classes. And here is our robot holder. Let's get this in the world. All right. So for so basically let's now come on. Let's lock this now. There we go. Two, three. And I'm gonna press play and see what happens when. Okay, so it didn't assign the spawn robot. That's interesting. Log, still that, okay. All right. Let's get in. Let's actually, let's do the first three. Again, remember, possession is based on the controller, so we need to get the controller. I need to change because I named the variables differently. So we first have to get the controller, make sure it's not a null pointer, and then we possess that other robot. To help us, so we saved everything. Let's jump back. Let's compile. Okay. Just so we know, where is my started content materials? All right, so we know which one is which. I'll make you green. Use rust. And the one that doesn't have it is going to be the spawn robot. All right. Two, three. Okay. So it is working. So what we're now missing right now is getting the spawned robot. So see, we tried doing this in here. This is not helping us. It is setting the holder. So this is what we don't want. I'm gonna grab. Let's see, I'm gonna undo that. Let me see. Questions so far? What we're doing? How we're about doing it? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's just there's a lot of busybody work. There's a lot of you need to set up the input in a particular way. The big thing is people I've seen students basically go through, set up the input, set up the code, and then don't bind the actions in the blueprint class that they're using. Do you want me to go finish the last one? Yeah. So let's jump back to the pawn CPP. Let's make sure I'm not running. I am. Oh, no, I'm not. Okay, good. So rather than robot 3, it's going to be robot spawn. And what we're going to do is just make sure if there we go. Here we go. And I'm just going to do an else. I'm going to just drop in the log right here. Okay, so right now I'm going to put this in an if statement just to be on the safe side, and this is so that we don't crash the engine with a null pointer reference, which is what we're having right now. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to jump, compile. Did I save everything? I did. So when I press 4 right now, you can go to my output log. You can see that it was trying to select it and it was missing. So far so good. I don't need you open. I don't need you open. Actually, I'm going to grab the controller here. I'm going to go to the robot holder. I'm going to have, let's go to the robot holder. Let's go to its begin play. So first thing, I'm going to grab the controller. And make sure we need the why is he on about? Oh, it's not. I need to get the gameplay statistics. Where is it again? All right, so there we go. That's not what I wanted. Wow, why is it selecting everything? Okay, it's going to ask for the world. And then which there we go. And then PC. There we go. Get pawn. So here is basically the pawn, and then basically what we want to do is, and here we go. Robot spawned. So we're going to go ask for its pawn, and so basically and the reason I'm doing here in the robot holder, now I say do it in the player, either the player controller, or I do it in the, I only want to do this once. So I'm either doing this in the player controller, or I'm going to do this here. I'm choosing to do this in the robot holder in this case. Why here? Because I don't want to go touching the player controller right now. And it makes sense that this class would be like, oh, hey controller, what did you spawn into the world? So save. Click on the robot holder. We can press play. Still getting a no. What's going on? Let's... This might be a little too soon. We'll see. Okay. Oh, okay. Remember when I made the anywhere blueprint right? That's interesting. What's going on? is it not? Where's the robot holder? Huh. Okay. So it's not updating. Because I had the editor locked. Let me just try this one more time. Okay. So yeah. So it is grabbing the pawn. It was just not updating. It may be that I had the editor locked. So it's a weird. This is something weird that Unreal is doing. I'm not sure, but ultimately, once I clicked on it when the game was running, it's now showing that I've got the pawn 0, which is the one that was spawned into the world. And you can see that it's this yellow, which is all the different. It's got all the AI controllers, so I don't need to give them AI controllers, but that's a setting on it that I need to probably get pulled off. But here we go. Here's the original. It's actually performing nicely. I open up the console window. And you can see the same error as the previous if you were in the air. And there you control me with. So there we go. I mean, that's the assignment in a nutshell. Again, I decided to have the holder go grab the spawn, and that's basically, again, it's a game assistant get player controller. I will grab that little piece of code and put that into the. Um, if you want to do this, easier to grab it. Yeah, it was just easier to do this in the holder. It makes sense that the holder would go grab it. But yeah, pretty straightforward. Get your input right. That's the first thing. Get your input right. Get that up and running, and then once you know that the input is working, then bring in your code to do what you want. I mean, it's not a crazy assignment. It's just you've got to jump through a few hoops. Again, the first way that you guys did it, you used the level blueprint, and that's where the input, the references to the robots, and I mean you were making references to the robots in the level blueprint, and you were using the input there. We've got to jump through hoops with the holder because we don't have the level blueprint, but you shouldn't be using the level blueprint that way. Like if this is again thinking about, hey, now we can have a game where we can where you've got multiple characters running around. Again, like right now, you've got these AI controllers. You could be giving, I mean, one of the things that could be happening is that you could be grabbing, you could have an AI controller possessing it to do stuff around the level. Any questions before that you guys want on the lecture video? Yeah, this went pretty straightforward. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording here.